been in remission for many, many years already, and don't really think about it until I have to go to the doctor for my follow-up visits. But it is, he's given me a lot of strength.
Isn't that? And it's just amazing how, again, it just feels like it's God's hand in there that here, this is a way that I can show you how you can get through this too. And I mean, my gosh, the stuff that you've gone through is just amazing to me, Terese, that you're still up on 2 feet and positive and helping others navigate all of this because it's so much. I know that you also decided, you and Roger together decided to have children. Can you tell us about that, how you guys came to that point to make that decision that, yes, you would have children?
Yeah, so Roger always wanted to have a family, and I was still in graduate school and working full time, and he was in school. A quick story: when he got diagnosed with his brain tumor, he started to go to school, and the social worker said to him, are you sure that you still want to go to school knowing that you don't know how many years you have left? Because my husband decided to be a teacher in the midst of his diagnosis because he was going to be an accountant, but he wanted to be a teacher because he thought it would feel more meaningful to him. And and the social worker, which I was really disappointed to hear him say, he said, what if you don't get to finish school? What then? And my husband's response was, and what if I live another 90 years and regret that I never followed my dream of being a teacher? What then?
I love it.
Yes. I do want to tell you a story that I hadn't shared with you before, Nada, and I'll be really quick about it because it still blows my mind. And I did later on decide to remarry. I married a wonderful man, Marco, who has honored my husband's memory from day one. And we are all one big family. He talks about him. He consults with him. He asks him for advice and for guidance in parenting and in being married to me.
So
but
beautiful.
it's really interesting because the night before I married Marco, we were scheduled to get married on a Saturday, and to have a civil ceremony, and then with our 2 kids who were still fairly young. I can't remember exactly what age, but we had a ceremony on a cruise ship, just the 4 of us. But the day before we were scheduled to get married, which was the Friday night before I got the results of my diagnosis of cancer. So Marco came over because we were going to, get married the next morning, and he brought his suit over and things like that. And I said to him, I need to talk to you privately. And we came upstairs, and I was crying, and I said to him that I had breast cancer, and I said to him, Nada, I know what it's like to lose a spouse, and I know what it's like to see them suffer. And I know that this is going to be a long road ahead. And so if you can't do this, I won't be mad. You can walk away, and I understand. And he said to me, are you crazy? Just because we're not married doesn't mean that I'm any less committed to you and to the children. I will take care of you the way you took care of him.
Wow.
Very similar story. And when he said
Absolutely.
that, it just brought me back to that moment when I was with Roger in the emergency room.
Yeah. You just cannot deny that there is a power so much bigger than us. And that power and presence is with us. Because what are the chances of that? Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I know we're going to run out of time quickly, but could you share with us the story about your I think it was your honeymoon when you went to Italy with Marco and the streets?
Yes. So I had mentioned to Marco that one of the promises that Roger had made to me was that he would take me to Italy because it was the number one place on my bucket list, and Spain was the second one. And he promised that we would go one day, and he died before he could complete that promise. And so Marco surprised me years ago and said, I'm going to take you to Italy to finish Roger's promise for him, and then I'm going to take you to Spain from me. And he said, you are going to know that Roger is with us on this trip. He will be there. And during this trip, I mean, his name is Roger. His full name is Rogelio in Spanish, but Roger is not a very common name either.
Yeah.
And in Italy, as we got on the tour bus, we had the tour guide say, hello, welcome for joining our tour. My name is Roger, and I will be your tour guide. And Marco just leans in and he said, I told you, he's here. And, you know, a couple of tours later, we drove down a street named Roger. And a couple of days after that, we passed a store named Roger. And my kids were just like, Mommy, Daddy is here.
Yeah.
And when we went to Spain, when we went to the zoo, there was a large graffitied Roger across the entrance to the zoo. And let me tell you, Nada, he shows up to every oncology appointment, every CAT scan, every MRI, because I never missed one of his appointments. I went to every single appointment that he had, and he goes with me to mine, and I feel his presence. And if I could share one last story about how Marco sees Roger as a partner, is two things. When he said, if you marry me, I promise I will always know my place in this family. Sophia and Christian will always come first. Roger will always be on one side of you, and I will be on the other. And when they wheeled me into the surgery room, the operating room, he said, when I woke up, that he said to Roger, I know Teresa's scared and I can't be with her. Please go hold her hand and be with our girl. And it has been very much that way, is that Marco sees this as a love. He knows that I will always love Roger, but he also knows that there's enough room in my heart for him. And you know, I think it definitely helped that Roger, before he died, made sure to tell me that he wanted me to find a dad for his daughter and for his son, and that he just really wanted me to be with someone who shared his values, and that he knew that I had enough love in my heart for someone else.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. And to be able to have that with this other man who you know that Roger is with you, and Marco is just showing you that. I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's just because there's not very many men that would be willing to do that. And I think it is such a beautiful thing, and all of the love and the abundance of love from Roger still pouring down and through Marco, and ultimately also with your mom, as all of this new phase is happening and this new transitioning. And Terese, I can't thank you enough for your time, for your courage, for sharing your story of your mom, the story of you, the story of Roger and Marco and your children. And you are a powerful woman. And I just hold you in high regards, and I'm so grateful that you took the time, and especially today, to be here and to share your story, and to be able to be a light and a big beacon of light for other people who are trying to navigate some very difficult waters for themselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for letting me share my story of my mom and my husband, Roger, and his memory. This is the way that I honor him, and to talk about him. And also, every time that I share the story, there's healing in it for me as well. So thank you for letting me be part of this, and to be part of sharing.
Absolutely. I'm truly honored. Thank you. And it is true that there's healing that happens every time we get to visit and share stories. And healing for yourself and healing for myself and healing for all of those who listen. So thank you so very much. And I will be in touch with you, holding you light and prayers. And I'm so grateful.
Blessings to you as well, Nita.
Thank you so much, Terese. And for all of the listeners, Terese's information will be in the show notes. And I think if we all could just lovingly send Terese and her mom and family love and light, because energy travels. And I hope you feel that as it is reaching you. Much love to you, Terese. Thank you so very much.
Well, thank you, Nita.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Please go to nadahogan.com for show notes and other information you can use right away. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe to our show and don't forget to rate and review right there on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you get your shows. And don't forget to tell your friends about it. We'll see you next week.